Captain Michael Hayes kept the photograph in his wallet for 42 years. Creased and faded, barely visible anymore, but he knew every detail by heart. A tiny infant, wrapped in a fire blanket, eyes closed, barely breathing. The baby he pulled from the flames on August 3rd, 1981. The baby whose name he never learned. The baby he thought about every single day for 4 decades. Michael was 67 now, retired from the Chicago Fire Department after 40 years of service. He'd saved hundreds of lives, pulled dozens from burning buildings, been decorated with medals and commendations. But none of it mattered as much as that one baby. The one he wasn't sure survived. The one whose face haunted his dreams and filled his prayers. What Michael didn't know was that baby had grown up, had become someone extraordinary. And Ellen DeGeneres was about to reunite them in a moment that would remind the world what heroes really look like. August 3rd, 1981, Chicago. Michael Hayes was 25 years old, a rookie firefighter on his 3rd month on the job. The call came in at 2:47 a.m. Apartment building fire, south side, multiple families trapped. When engine 17 arrived, the building was already engulfed. Flames shooting from windows, smoke so thick you couldn't see 10 feet ahead. Michael's captain was shouting orders, coordinating evacuations, but Michael heard something nobody else did. A baby crying. Faint, almost imperceptible under the roar of the fire, but unmistakable. "Captain, there's a baby in there." "Hayes, we can't, the building's unstable." But Michael was already moving. He didn't think, didn't calculate risk. He just ran into that building toward the sound of crying. 3rd floor, apartment 3C, the door was hot to the touch. Michael kicked it open and was hit with a wall of smoke and heat. The apartment was an inferno. Furniture burning, walls collapsing, temperature so high his gear felt like it was melting. And there, in the bedroom, in a crib somehow still standing, was a baby. Maybe 6 months old, crying weakly, surrounded by flames. Michael grabbed the infant, wrapped her in his fire blanket, and ran. The floor was giving way beneath him. The ceiling was collapsing. He made it to the stairwell seconds before the apartment exploded behind him. Outside, paramedics grabbed the baby. Michael collapsed on the sidewalk, lungs burning, hands blistered, watching them work on this tiny life he'd just pulled from death. "Is she alive? Tell me she's alive." The paramedic looked up. "She's breathing, barely, but she's breathing." They rushed the baby to the hospital. Michael tried to follow but collapsed from smoke inhalation. By the time he recovered and asked about the baby, the hospital couldn't tell him anything. Privacy laws. Family had taken her. She'd survived, that's all they could say. Michael never learned her name. Never knew if she truly recovered or if the smoke had caused lasting damage. Never knew if she even knew someone had saved her that night. But he never forgot her. He carried that photograph, a Polaroid the paramedics had taken, for 42 years. Every time he thought about quitting, about giving up on another dangerous call, he'd touch that photo in his wallet and remember. This is why we do it. For moments like that. Michael saved 247 people during his career, but none of them kept him awake at night like that baby. None of them made him wonder. None of them felt unfinished. After retiring in 2021, Michael's wife died from cancer. His children lived across the country. He spent his days alone in their Chicago home, surrounded by medals and commendations that felt meaningless. He'd been a hero to hundreds of people. But the one person he most wanted to know he'd saved was a ghost, a memory, a photograph that was fading as fast as his hope of ever finding her. That's when Michael did something he'd never done before. He posted on social media. 42 years ago, I pulled a baby from a burning building in Chicago. South Side, August 3rd, 1981. I never learned her name. If you're out there, if you survived, I just want to know you're okay. That's all. Just that one thing. The post got 37 shares. A few kind comments, no answers. Michael felt foolish for even trying. But one person saw that post who knew exactly who that baby was. Dr. Sarah Mitchell was 42 years old, a trauma surgeon at Northwestern Memorial Hospital in Chicago. She'd saved hundreds of lives in her career, worked 80-hour weeks, dedicated her entire existence to keeping people alive. And she'd always known why. Because someone had kept her alive when she was 6 months old. Sarah's parents had told her the story her entire life. The apartment fire, the firefighter who ran into the flames, the miracle of her survival. They'd tried to find him, to say thank you, but the fire department couldn't share information. Privacy policies, they said. The firefighter had moved on, they said. So Sarah had lived her whole life knowing a stranger had given her a second chance. And she'd spent that second chance giving second chances to others. When Sarah saw Michael's post, shared by a friend of a friend, she stared at her phone for 10 minutes straight. Then she called her father. "Dad, I found him. I found the firefighter who saved me." Sarah wanted to reach out immediately, but her father had a better idea. "Sarah, this man has wondered about you for 42 years. He deserves more than a message. He deserves to know what his sacrifice created." That's when Sarah's father did something unexpected. He wrote to Ellen DeGeneres. The letter was simple. 42 years ago, a firefighter saved my 6-month-old daughter from a burning building. He never knew if she survived. She did. She became a trauma surgeon who has now saved over 300 lives. He's been looking for her. She's been looking for him. Can you help us show him that heroes create heroes? 3 weeks later, Michael Hayes received a phone call. "Mr. Hayes, this is Rachel from the Ellen DeGeneres show. Ellen read about your story and would love to have you as a guest. We're doing a segment honoring retired firefighters." Michael almost said no. He wasn't interested in recognition. He just wanted to know about the baby. "Ma'am, I appreciate it, but I'm not really the hero type. I just did my job. Mr. Hayes, Ellen specifically asked for you. Please, it would mean a lot." Michael agreed because he had nothing better to do. His wife was gone. His kids were busy. At least it would be a trip somewhere. The day of the taping, Michael wore his old fire department dress uniform. It barely fit anymore. He'd gained weight since retiring, lost muscle. He felt old, irrelevant, like a relic from another time. Sitting in the Ellen Show audience, third row, Michael felt out of place. Everyone was so young, so energetic. He was just an old man who couldn't let go of a memory. Ellen came out dancing. The crowd roared. Michael tried to smile. Then Ellen stopped mid-stage and looked directly at him. "We have someone very special in our audience today. Captain Michael Hayes, retired Chicago Fire Department. Captain Hayes, can you stand up, please?" Michael stood, confused, embarrassed by the attention. "Captain Hayes, you served 40 years as a firefighter. You saved 247 lives. But there's one life you've been thinking about for 42 years. Isn't there?" Michael's throat tightened. How did she know? "Come up here, Captain." Michael walked to the stage, legs shaking. Ellen met him, took his hand gently. "Captain Hayes, tell us about August 3rd, 1981. Michael's voice cracked. "There was a fire. Southside Chicago. I heard a baby crying. I went in, pulled her out. That's all." "That's all?" Ellen's voice was gentle. "Captain, you ran into a collapsing building to save a 6-month-old baby you'd never met. The apartment exploded seconds after you got out. You almost died." Michael shrugged. "It's what we do. It's the job. Do you still think about that baby?" Michael pulled out his wallet with trembling hands, removed the faded photograph. "Every day for 42 years. I never knew her name. Never knew if she really survived or if the smoke damaged her. I just wanted to know she was okay." Ellen's eyes filled with tears. "Captain Hayes, what if I told you that baby is here? Right now?" Michael's knees buckled. Ellen caught his arm. "What if I told you she didn't just survive? She thrived. She became extraordinary. And she's been looking for you just as long as you've been looking for her." The curtain behind them opened, and Dr. Sarah Mitchell walked onto the stage. She was wearing her hospital scrubs, still on call, had come directly from a 12-hour shift. She looked at Michael, this man she'd seen only in one childhood photo her parents kept, and started crying before she even reached him. "Captain Hayes, my name is Sarah Mitchell. 42 years ago, you pulled me out of apartment 3C. You saved my life." Michael couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. He just stared at this woman, this doctor, this miracle he'd carried in his wallet for 4 decades. Sarah continued, voice shaking. "I'm a trauma surgeon at Northwestern Memorial. In the last 15 years, I've saved 312 lives. Every single one of those lives exists because you ran into a burning building for a baby you didn't know. You didn't just save me, Captain Hayes. You saved everyone I've ever saved. You created a chain of life that will never end." Michael collapsed, not falling, just folding into himself, overwhelmed. Sarah caught him, held him, this stranger who was more family than family. "You were okay," Michael whispered. "You were okay this whole time. More than okay. I'm alive because of you. And I've spent every day of my life trying to be worth what you risked for me." Ellen stood back, crying openly now. The audience was silent except for sniffling. This wasn't entertainment. This was witnessing something sacred. When Michael could finally speak, he looked at Sarah with wonder. "A doctor? You became a doctor?" "A trauma surgeon, because someone gave me trauma and someone else gave me a second chance. I spend every day returning that favor." Ellen stepped forward. "Captain Hayes, you've been retired 3 years. You've been alone since your wife passed. You've been wondering for 42 years if that baby was okay. So Sarah wanted us to show you something." A screen lowered behind them. It showed photos. Sarah as a child, healthy and smiling. Sarah graduating medical school. Sarah in scrubs, saving lives. And then video testimonials. Faces appeared on screen. Dozens of them. "I'm alive because Dr. Mitchell saved me after my car accident. Dr. Mitchell performed emergency surgery that saved my daughter. I'm here because of Dr. Sarah Mitchell." One after another. 47 people in total. All alive because Sarah saved them. All alive because Michael saved Sarah. The video ended. Michael was sobbing. Sarah was holding him. Ellen was crying so hard she could barely speak. "Captain Hayes," Ellen finally managed, "you thought you saved one life 42 years ago. You actually saved 360 lives. 312 that Sarah saved directly, and 47 children of those patients who exist because their parents survived. That's 360 people walking this earth because you heard a baby crying and ran toward danger instead of away from it." The audience exploded. Not polite applause, a roaring, standing recognition of something that transcended television. But Ellen had one more thing. "Captain Hayes, you served 40 years without proper recognition. The Chicago Fire Department wants to correct that." The fire commissioner walked onto the stage carrying a medal. "Captain Michael Hayes, for extraordinary valor above and beyond the call of duty, we award you the department's highest honor. And this." He handed Michael a plaque. "Engine 17 has been renamed the Captain Michael Hayes Rescue Company in your honor." Michael couldn't process it. The medal, the plaque, Sarah standing beside him, alive and thriving, 42 years of wondering answered in 10 minutes. Sarah took the microphone. "Captain Hayes, I have something for you." She pulled out a photograph, not old and faded, but new. It showed Sarah in her scrubs, surrounded by her medical team. Behind them, a sign, "The Captain Hayes Unit, where second chances become forever." "I named my surgical unit after you," Sarah said. "Every patient we save, we tell them about the firefighter who started it all, about the man who ran into fire to pull out a baby he didn't know, about the hero who created heroes." Michael looked at the photo, at this woman, at the chain of life he'd started 42 years ago. "I just wanted to know you were okay." "I'm more than okay. I'm alive. And so are 360 other people because you cared about one baby. After the show, Michael and Sarah sat backstage for 2 hours, just talking. Sarah told him about her childhood, her parents who'd tried to find him, her decision to become a doctor, every life she'd saved. Michael told her about the 42 years of wondering, the prayers, the photograph he'd carried, the hope that never died. "Why did you keep looking?" Sarah asked. "Because you were unfinished business. I saved 247 people, but you were the only one I never knew the ending to. I needed to know the story finished right. It finished perfectly. It's still finishing. Every life I save is your story continuing." Today, Michael Hayes is 69 years old. He's not alone anymore. Sarah visits him weekly. Her children call him Grandpa Mike. He attends her surgical lectures, sits in the audience while she teaches young doctors, watches the chain of life continue. The photograph is still in his wallet, but it's not faded anymore. Sarah had it professionally restored. Next to it now sits another photo. The two of them on Ellen's stage, captain and doctor, firefighter and surgeon, hero and hero. The Captain Hayes Rescue Unit has saved 89 lives in 2 years. Engine 17, now the Captain Michael Hayes Rescue Company, responds to an average of 400 calls per year. But the real rescue happened on that stage, when an old man learned that 42 years